Good morning once again. Thanks so much for staying with us here on the AM Report. Chief Justice Mogoeng Mogoeng has been given 10 days to apologise after the Judicial Conduct Committee found him guilty of being involved in a political controversy. Now, that ruling follows a complaint laid by Africa for Palestine relating to comments made by Mogoeng in support of Israel during an online seminar hosted by the Jerusalem Post. Now, the Chief Justice at the time said as a Christian, he was obligated to love Israel. He has also now been ordered to retract that defiant statement he made following a public outcry when he said he would not apologize for his remarks, even if 50 million people were to march every day for 10 years, quote unquote. Now, Muhammad Desai is director of Africa for Palestine, and he joins us now for more on this story. Muhammad, good morning once again. Thanks for joining us. The issue here that I think many people in support of the Chief Justice's comments at the time said was that this is an issue of freedom of religion, which is being denied to the Chief Justice. And now we see that the Judicial Conduct Commission disagreeing with her.
So, hi, Michelle. I think that today is not only a good day for the Palestinian cause, but also for South Africa and our judiciary, simply because this issue was never about freedom of religion, and this is something that we made clear in our complaint to the Judicial Services Commission. The JSC has subsequently agreed with us that this is not an issue of what religion the Chief Justice belongs to and what his faith demands of him. However, it has to do with the JSC's code of conduct, which makes it very clear that that any judge is not allowed to enter any form of political controversy, nor abuse or misuse their office to pursue their own personal interests. And in this case, the Chief Justice was using his office as Chief Justice to pursue his personal interest of support of the Israeli regime. I think something that's important for us to also point out is that the Chief Justice was also misled in his conflation and confusion between the biblical land of Israel, which we read about in the Bible, with the modern state of Israel created in 1948, a country which has been accused of war crimes, crimes against humanity, and various other violations of international law.
So the issue here at play is, as you say, not only the fact that the Chief Justice got involved in a political issue, but also for his continued defiance. It's now some 9 months since that online webinar where the Chief Justice actually made these comments, and we're now at a stage where the Chief Justice is being told to apologize. There's been defiance from him since then, since last year.
I think that what is remarkable is that Deputy Judge President Judge Phineas Mojapelo, who was tasked with leading the process of looking into this matter by the JSC, has come out with a very fair ruling. He has come out with a very fair and detailed decision, and has outlined that because of the aggravating nature of the Chief Justice's defiance, that the Chief Justice is now, and because of his violations, obviously, of the JSC Code of Conduct, he is now to issue an apology and a retraction, firstly at a meeting of all the justices, of all the judges of the Constitutional Court, and thereafter by utilizing the media release system of the Constitutional Court to issue his an apology more publicly and more generally to the South African population. This is an important precedent-setting decision because it assures us and it affirms that no one is above the law, including judges of our courts and, in fact, the head of our judiciary, the Chief Justice. We hope that it sets the standard for future judicial conduct.
Just take us back to when the Chief Justice first made those comments, Mohammed, and you first heard about it and saw the comments, verbatim. What was going through your mind?
We were shocked. We were shocked that the Chief Justice would have participated in such a overtly propagandistic event. The event clearly was utilizing his name in a very controversial matter, in a very political matter, and we were very saddened to see that the Chief Justice had swayed into the Israeli-Palestinian issue on the side of the oppressor. What saddened us even further was the fact that he, in his excuse that it is about his Christian beliefs, that he completely disregarded the Palestinian Christian community, some of the first followers of Jesus Christ, and we feel that he is doing a disservice, in fact, to the Christian, to the churches today who have come out very clearly, whether it's the South African Council of Churches, whether it's the Methodist Church, the Presbyterian Church, the United Congregational Church of Southern Africa, all these churches he is at loggerheads with because of their own positions in recent years, coming out very clearly in support of the Palestinian people, and more specifically the Palestinian Christian community residing in Bethlehem, Jerusalem, and various other holy towns and cities. So we do hope that in addition to his retraction and his apology, that he also does have a re-look at his position on the Israeli-Palestinian issue more generally.
In fact, Mohammed, I think for the sake of our viewers who are watching the story, let's give you a reminder now of what the Chief Justice had to say in that webinar.
The first base I give is in Psalm 122, verse 6, which says, 122, verse 6, which says, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper that love thee. And 3, also Genesis 12, verses 1 to 3. That says to me as a Christian that if I curse Abraham and Israel, God, the Almighty God, will curse me too. So I'm under an obligation as a Christian to love Israel, to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, which actually means the peace of Israel. And I cannot, as a Christian, do anything other than love and pray for Israel, because I know.
There you have it. Those are the comments made by the Chief Justice in that webinar that was hosted in, I think it was June of last year, June of 2020. And Mohammed, it's, as you say, in that soundbite that we've just cut, the Chief Justice there very clearly conflating the Israel of now and the Israel of the Bible.
It's really sad, and it's really shocking that he starts off with calling for a prayer for Jerusalem. Jerusalem today is one of the saddest places for Christianity. Palestinian Christians who live right next to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, for example, in Jerusalem, are unable, are prevented, and are stopped from traveling to, for example, the birthplace of Jesus Christ, just a few minutes away in Bethlehem today. And these sort of transgressions, these sorts of abuses of the Christian community in the Holy Land are completely undermined by the Chief Justice's position and by his proclamations on this matter. I think that more worryingly is the fact that he gives a free ride to the Israeli regime, which is a serial violator of human rights, and something in which the South African government has taken a very clear position on. For example, our downgrading of the South African embassy in Israel a few years ago to the status of a liaison office. So he not only is at loggerheads with the JSC and the judiciary, he's also at loggerheads and in contradiction of our major church bodies in South Africa, including the South African Council of Churches. And finally, he is contradicting and he is weighing into an area, the realm of the executive in our country, the realm of our administration and the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, a realm which he's not to be entering, just as how the administration of our country is not meant to be interfering with the judiciary. We really feel that the Chief Justice made a major blunder, and we hope that his apology and his retraction will be followed through with, and we hope that this year is a good ending of this matter.
And the Chief Justice now has 10 days of the decision by the Judicial Conduct Committee to issue that apology. Muhammad Desai, thanks very much for your time this morning.